Kika, and I'm head of community at Tinybop. We are a studio of developers, designers, and artists building products to help kids explore the world around them. We believe in the power of learning through play, inquiry, experimentation, and make-believe. So thank you so much for having me here today. I'm really excited. I'm never leaving Berlin because it's so amazing. And it's also really great to be part of a community where people are sharing information and really raising the bar on what content we can make for kids and the apps that we can produce. Also, if someone takes a really flattering picture of me, I have to Instagram it later, so from the Tinybop account, so just send it to me. So you may have heard of us, as we mentioned, from our first app, The Human Body. It's an app that lets you explore 7 different layers of the human body through poking and prodding. There's lots of really great sounds. It's had a lot of success thanks to a lot of different reasons. We launched it in 51 different languages. Now it's in 58. We had a lot of requests to add more. And it was named Best of 2013 in the App Store, and since launching, it's been #1 in 143 countries in the education section. So really excited, and I think right now, the last time I checked, downloaded a total of 4.9 million times. So, really great, but we have one app. So the real reason why we're here, how did we get here? How are we such a tiny company building a global brand? And how are we scaling our team and processes to match? So we did this by thinking a little bit backwards, completely backwards, optimistically, openly, and with constant evaluation. When we first launched in 2012, we knew we wanted to build a company that would be around for a very long time and have an impact on the way that kids learn worldwide. So we knew that the traditional startup method of build it and they will come wouldn't really work for us. So we had to do things a little bit differently, which leads me to the first point. Build an audience. The first thing we did was build an audience, which sounds completely crazy and normally happens after you launch your product. But as I mentioned, we knew that we wanted to build this global brand. So a full year before launching in 2012, we started a site called Tinybop Loves. Tinybop Loves is a site that we started profiling our favorite books, media, I think websites, and then later on web apps and movies. Either stuff that we loved as children growing up, so there's some really good classics on there by William Steig and some ones that you'll recognize, and then other crazy videos that might not be made for kids, but kids can totally enjoy, and things that we were discovering in recent years with the kids in our lives. So we wanted to show people that what we valued in children's media and we thought was important. And at the same time, we also put, it's not on here, we also put an email sign-up list at the top to let people know that we were building our own products in the future. And this was really important to us because it showed that we valued things and that people could start communicating with us. So when kids go to school, your parents, you meet their teachers, your teacher has a track record, they have a learning philosophy. Parents get to see what the results are every single year. They get to build trust with an educator. So that was really important for us to build as well. We wanted to demonstrate to parents that they could trust us, that we valued the same thing as them, that what they cared about, which was, is this app educational? Is it safe? Is it free of marketing? Is it free of sneaky in-app purchases? And most importantly, will they learn something and is it fun? So we wanted to demonstrate that and start communicating with our potential audience that we cared about the same thing. Oh, yeah. So the other thing, after we started our mailing list, those people became extremely valuable to us as a company. We were able to start engaging with them, and those turned into our very first play testing sessions, our very first people who gave us feedback, and then the early adopters of the human body. So right away, we had an audience, and again, way in advance of having a product. And at the same time, we also started our social media accounts, so again, in 2012. So we had Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we started realizing that people were sharing the things that they found on Tinybop Loves. So every time someone Totoro or Pingu or an app that they had just discovered through our site, we used that as an opportunity to engage in a public dialogue with them and start talking to them about what they were interested in and what their kids were interested in. And as time went on, as we got closer to the launch of the human body, we also started sharing news about science topics and weird body news or new discoveries, and started asking those people what they thought of that and getting them excited about the things that we were learning and discovering as we were developing our app. So again, re-engaging those people in conversations and talking to them about the questions their kids had about their own bodies. The big takeaway from this should be find out who your audience is way before you even have a product on the market and start communicating with those people. Take the time to define who your audience actually is. Are they parents? Are they teachers? Are they kids? Where can you find those people online and offline? And what interests them when they're not playing your app? I think that it goes a long way that we set out to define those things and who our ideal parent was and who our ideal user was. And we started to find what resonated with them through iterating and testing out those lines of communication. Start to develop a voice for your audience and find out what they really care about. And trust goes a long way, and building that trust should happen way in advance of your product coming out. Okay, so the next thing we did was to build a brand. And again, this was without having any product on the market. I don't even think we had started developing our first app. This happened at the beginning of 2013 and at the end of 2012. So as I mentioned, we knew that we had big plans in mind, and we knew that we would start with a series of apps that were designed to help kids inquire about the world around them. So when Raul first started thinking about Tinybop, he thought about all of our app series, what they would be called, every single title within each one, which we do have all planned out, and we built a roadmap for Tinybop and how it would grow. So from afar, we had admired the work of Melissa June, who is our now head of design, and she had created a brand book for the New York Times and how those brand identities could be applied all over the web and in every single instance, in marketing, in advertising, in apps, on banners. So we did the same. We did the same for Tinybop. This is a 44-page brand book on how every single brand identity piece can be used. We started with our logo. So these were the early instances of our logo and how they developed. They're all obviously really awesome and colorful and playful and sort of fun to revisit, but we settled on Tinybop, which was inspired by a wind-up toy, and you can see it in all of our apps, animating and interacting. So the best part about this was that for someone who, like me, who's not involved in the design process at all, and I don't ever speak to what they do because Melissa's amazing and everyone trusts her design sense and decisions she makes, it was really helpful because it made my life a lot easier. It communicated what was expected of our brand, how I could use our assets in every single instance, how I could take those assets and possibly think of new projects to apply them in. Yeah, exactly. Do not. A lot of these are do nots. And so now I know. Do not make a banner, or do not try to make a postcard with using an app title underneath our app logo. And it also created a culture of communication in our team and put the responsibility on all team members to know what was expected of them outside of their respective roles. So this is actually what we have planned for everything in our app. So how the logo should be used, icons, colors, typography, patterns. I have all of my business cards here, and I like to do a cool trick. There's 8 different patterns, and I like to offer them to people and see which they choose, and then I silently judge those people based on which one. Or I try to analyze your brain, and it's very good. So, and then for our app icons as well. So we have our first series is called the Explorers Library. So all of the app icons and how those will be designed is already set out. So those are all ready to go and waiting. The most important takeaway here is that to think about your entire digital identity holistically, not just what your product is and what your product does. Don't underestimate the importance of how people perceive your brand and your company. What do you want them to feel when they see your brand? What do you want them to think of? Do you want them to think that you're serious or playful? I think that a lot of times people think those things come after, or those aren't things that you can plan for, but you absolutely can. How people want to learn with you or want to enjoy you is something you can definitely be intentional about. So yeah, it should happen way before you start planning your product, even before you've built it. I think that it was really important that we did this because everyone on our team knows how we're going to grow. And for our investors, it really set out that we have a cohesive brand and we have a way to expand. For team members, as I mentioned, it's really clear how you can apply these assets and tools across the projects that we're working on. Yeah, starting a company takes a lot of time, but you definitely owe it to what you're working on to make really strong decisions and not let anything really be left to chance. Or I guess you can, but it's worth it. So the next thing that a lot of people, I know that everyone who's here has really strong teams behind them, which is why you're here and why you're excited about making the apps that you are. So I just wanted to talk about that as well. From the beginning, so when we started our brand book and we started building our audience, we knew that we wanted to have a very strong team, and we started imagining and planning for the people that we wanted to work with. Leading this whole idea of the culture that we wanted to foster was the desire to have discrete roles with very little overlap between teams. There's this culture in startup of, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with being lean and iterative. So in other words, adapt and overcome. You try something, it didn't work, do it again, or sorry, not do it again, but do it differently the next time. But we didn't want a lot of stuff to be left to arbitrary decisions. We wanted everything to be purposeful and well thought out. So when we set out to hire our team, we think about scale. So when we do something, when someone makes a decision, like me or Melissa, who's our head of design, is this a process that can be used when there's one person added to the team? Is this a process that can be added or used when there's 10 people added to the team? How is this process communicated? We use a lot of tools to document every single process that we're doing. And so it's really important for us that everything we try, it's a purposeful thought and not necessarily an afterthought of, I think I did this way because I didn't really have the time to think of it any other way. We want to be intentional with the decision. So with hiring, we definitely aim to hire people who are clear communicators of that type of thing. And most importantly, we try to hire people, or I say we have hired people who are the best people to be making those decisions. So whether it's for design or copy or social media, we can trust whoever is making the decision is the best person, and we can give feedback, but we don't necessarily approve or say no to the things that person's doing. So this is our very, very tiny office. And when we set out to hire, as I said, we set out to hire people that we admired. So people like Melissa, who we had worked with before on a project basis. We knew that she liked what we were doing, what we were working on. She was familiar with our brand because she helped create it. We dug really deep to find people like our developers. Our developer, Rob, was living in the mountains of New Hampshire, but was a frequenter of online physics communities, talking about the type of physics and animation that we were interested in building in our apps. So we found him, brought him to visit in New York, and it turned out there was a really good fit. I think for hiring, there's definitely this it's easy to hire for people who check the right boxes of skills, but for us, communication, again, I can't stress enough, communication between team members is super duper important. And so finding the people who will communicate well with each other and also have this certain brand of weird that we're looking for is really important. So, yeah, so I'll explain a little bit about our office. We are moving to a bigger office, but we have 17 people in this lovely room, and it's nice and cozy. We're split between 2 different app teams for the most part, so right now we have, I guess, 2 apps in development. The next one comes out on Thursday, which is really exciting. We also have people like me, Youngna and Melissa and Tina who are across app teams and work on branding projects. So for every project, whether it's an app or something for social media or for creative or for content, we normally have a point person, which is most likely our product manager or whoever is leading the project, and then the team members on that project decide what they're responsible for and when it'll be delivered. And we use tools like Google Docs, and we use HipChat in our office to communicate as well. It's really easy to communicate with our team because we're in a really small room. So yeah, it's hard to avoid people. So there's definitely a lot of accountability, but I think, again, building a team, I can't stress enough, communication, accountability, and the desire to move forward with momentum is really important. Okay, so the last thing that I'll talk about is, for us, listening is an important part of our process. We play test in our office, we play test in schools, we test on the fly, we talk to our friends, we talk to our peers, and we're constantly asking our community how they are using the human body, and with our next step as well, how they're using it and how we can improve. We take a lot of these thoughts seriously, and it definitely shapes the way that we build our products and we iterate. And again, communicating with all these people, it builds trust. So this is from one of our recent app testing sessions. It's proved extremely valuable in our growth to continue to listen, not necessarily, definitely for the development of our app, but also for, as people keep on noticing us and we start growing our audience, people want to know not just how we use our app and what we think it can do, but they want to hear real user stories of how it can be applied. So in classrooms, in real life, it's really helped with our press and marketing. When people come to us and they want us to tell them a story, we have a lot of different stories that we can tell depending on how it's being used around the world. So, and our app is being used around the world, and I think that that's made a really big difference for us too. So listening to these people tell their stories has been, it's supposed to be weighted on where the downloads are, but I took out the numbers because it was kind of confusing. But yeah, America, definitely the biggest for us. But because we are in 58 languages in the human body, we're seeing a lot of localization and a lot of really exciting stories. So before launch, we had anticipated questions that we would get for the human body, so since we were in so many languages, we had these translated as well. And we started realizing that people had a lot of questions about the dashboard. So people were asking the same questions about the dashboard across around the world. So we started realizing that we shouldn't just keep on answering the same question, like how do you manage your account? It's really easy in our mind. You tap the dashboard, you enter it, that's for parents, and you can manage your account. But we realized that we should just change the way it's accessed, change the way you can manage your account. And we took the feedback and we took that as an opportunity to grow. The other interesting thing was we discovered in certain countries a checkbox is a negative, so we decided to change those countries. Instead of having a checkbox, we would have a circle. So just small localization things that showed that we were being culturally sensitive, I think made a big difference in those areas to realize that we were thinking about what they were going through, and it again helped build trust. Okay, so yeah. creating an entire ecosystem around your app is really, really important. And it's a combination of everything that everyone has been saying here today. It's your voice, it's who you see as your community, and how you'll support those people and communicate with them. As more of our apps come out, one next week, which you can see behind me, that's all I'm going to say. We're continuing to listen and evolve our processes and grow our team and our brand. So all the steps that I talked about are definitely starting points, and we're going to continue to grow and iterate and analyze what we're working on. So, yeah. Hopefully you can come and visit our office. We're moving in a few weeks, so it will be much bigger and much more friendlier for visitors. And if you have any questions, you can contact me.